My name is Zach Pasquarello, and I just hit $1 million net worth, and I'm 31 years old. I'm a private money lender. I'm a bookkeeper. I make these videos because I love talking about finances, business, and I love sharing authentic stories of my own life. In this video, I'm going to give you some lessons that I learned over the past 10 years and what exactly got me to this point. How did I go from basically $0 in my bank account after I graduated college to now I have a $1 million net worth? I'm also going to break it down. I'm going to tell you exactly where my money is, how I have it invested, and what my plans are for the next 5 years. I'm going to talk about things like being frugal, learning about investing, being a W-2 employee versus being an entrepreneur, my trucking company, focusing and having a niche, working really hard, of course. I'm going to talk about how I failed in college. I literally almost failed out of college. I'm going to talk about some of the struggles I had with alcohol and some of the struggles we had as a family. And then I'm going to wrap it all up by talking about my why. What is my purpose? Why am I doing this? I don't think it matters so much what you do, but instead, I think why you do what you do matters so much more. So I'm just going to go right into it. I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to tell you exactly where my money is. And let me explain to you, whenever I say net worth, I'm talking about my assets minus my liabilities. So I'm talking about all the money I have, retirement accounts, the properties, and then minus my credit card debt, my SBA loans, my mortgages, anything else, my lines of credit. So truly net worth, assets minus liabilities, not just assets. A lot of people have $1 million in assets, but they have a ton of loans for those properties. So I'm talking strictly equity, net worth, assets minus liabilities. So I'm going to break it down for you real quick. So cash or cash equivalents or current assets. So like money in bank CDs or current loans, notes receivable, private money loans, like money that I'm expected to get back in the next 12 months, not long-term investments. Current assets, $524,000. I have tied up in bank CDs, money market accounts, my checking account, and private money loans. And then I have $337,000 in retirement accounts, 401k, IRA, my thrift savings plan for when I was in the Army. And then finally, I have $188,000 of equity because I own 2 properties. So I look at the current value of those properties minus my mortgages. So that's the equity I have in my 2 properties. My primary residence right now, and then the previous house that we bought in 2019. So we just moved in January of 2024 and we kept our old house. And we bought it 5 years ago, so it has appreciated a lot in value. So $524,000 plus $337,000 plus $188,000 puts my net worth at $1,050,000. I'm so excited. But the weird thing is, I don't really feel any different. I don't feel special. I feel kind of happy, but my life hasn't changed. I still wake up every morning. I still make a cup of coffee. I still go to the gym. I still eat my lunch at home. My wife still makes dinner every night. Like, we're not buying a Lamborghini. We're not moving to Italy. I'm not buying $100,000 wardrobes. Like, nothing has changed. I'm continuing to live my life, 31 years old with $1 million net worth. And truthfully, I make these YouTube videos, I've come to realize, just because I enjoy making these YouTube videos. So if you've been a longtime follower of my channel, I appreciate your support. I know it's been a wild ride. I've been talking all over the place, trucking, bookkeeping, private money lending. So thank you for your support. I don't know where the future holds for my YouTube channel. I don't know what it's going to look like in 2025 or beyond. But I do know that I love making these videos. So I'm going to try to keep making these videos, even though my business is getting busy, my family is growing, I have less time, but I'm going to try to keep making these videos. Okay, so let me share some lessons that I've learned. So being frugal, this goes all the way back to my days in the Army. 10 years ago, I was fresh out of college and I joined the Army. And I had to learn how to be frugal because I was making $55,000 as a second lieutenant in the Army, living in Georgia with my wife, and we were about to have our first baby. And so I had to learn how to be frugal. And let me just be clear, you're not going to save your way to $1 million. If you're only making $50,000 right now, it's going to take you a really long time for you to save and accumulate a $1 million net worth. It's not impossible. You probably do it in 20 or 30 years, maybe less. But being frugal in the beginning allows you to make riskier decisions, like quitting your job and starting a business. So being frugal just gives you a buffer. It gives you a cushion. It allows you to start investing early. Pay yourself first. If you're in your early 20s, learn how to be frugal, get a budget. Figure out how much money you have left over after you pay your rent, your groceries, your car payment, your insurance, your utilities. After you pay all of your necessary payments, figure out how much money you have left over. And then learn about investing. Learn about saving. Learn about the power of compounding interest. I'm 31 years old and I have $337,000 saved up into my retirement accounts. So in 30 years, just because of compounding interest and all the tax benefits of my 401k and my IRA, that $337,000 alone is going to be worth a good amount in 30 years. So learn early. If you're in your 20s, now is the perfect time for you to be frugal, learn about investing, start saving your money, and understand the value of compounding interest. My primary investment strategy, and I hate that I even have to say this, but everything I'm talking about is just educational purposes only. Don't take any of my advice. Consult with a professional first. All of my investment strategy has been really straightforward. I take my 401k and my IRA and I invest in mutual funds that mirror the S&P 500. Nothing crazy, nothing super risky, but also I don't really look into bonds too much. Mostly just mutual funds that mirror the S&P 500. I'm sure there are hundreds of better investments out there, but it's simple. It's straightforward. It's got pretty decent returns over the past 10 years. I'm probably going to keep doing it. So learn about investing early. And if you're in your 30s or 40s, it's not too late. It's never too late to be frugal, especially if your budget is tight. Start saving money, start investing. And now let's talk about the difference between me being an employee and an entrepreneur. So for the first 5 years of my adult post-college life, I was an employee. I was in the Army for almost 4 years, and then I worked in a warehouse for about 2 years. And it was great. Great job. In the Army, I worked up to a $70,000 salary. In the warehouse, I worked up to a $100,000 salary working as a warehouse manager. And I thought I had made it. I thought me living in central Pennsylvania, $100,000 salary, I felt like a king. I felt like this is what I have been hoping for my entire life. In high school, in college, I always thought a $100,000 salary was the pinnacle. That was the goal for everybody. And then it was a great job, but it was not a great job for me. I hated it. I just did not like the work. It was a great job, just not a great job for me. And I made the decision to go back to school. And I started studying accounting. And I learned that that was my passion. And then I wanted to start doing accounting right away. So I found something that I loved. And I was willing to sacrifice my $100,000 salary. I was willing to make less money to pursue something that I genuinely enjoyed. And I think there's a lot of value in that, because if you find something that you like doing, you're going to work much harder. You're going to enjoy your days. You're going to flow throughout your day while you're working. You're going to get energized while you work. And if you think about it, that's kind of the ideal scenario. You're at work, you enjoy what you do, you become energized by completing the work that you enjoy doing. Therefore, you're able to work more, work harder, work more efficiently, enjoy your work, do more, try to get promoted, try to grow your business. If you like what you do, if you can get energized by what you do, it's almost a cheat code. Because if your job or what you do during the day is constantly sucking your energy, you're going to be depleted by the time you're done with your day. But if what you do energizes you, then by the end of the day, you're going to have just as much energy as when you did in the beginning of the day, because you're like constantly recharging your battery by doing fulfilling work. And if you've never experienced that, I hope that you experience that someday, because it's life-changing. It's life-giving. It's so energizing. Actually enjoying your work is got to be one of the greatest things ever, because we spend so much time working. If you hate your job, now I understand there are some people who don't have the luxury of pursuing their passion. I totally get that, and there's nothing we can do about that. But if you have the opportunity to pursue your passion, I hope you take that opportunity, because if you are energized by the work that you do, there is nothing better than that, because we spend how many hours? 8 hours a day sleeping, if we're lucky, 8 hours a day working. That's 33% of our day working. That's 50% of our awake hours are spent working. If you're miserable 50% of the time because you hate your job, that's no way to live your life. Sorry, that was kind of a tangent, but it's so important. So I was an employee for 5 years. Great job, $100,000, amazing. I thought I made it. I thought I reached the peak. And then I started studying accounting, and I realized that was my passion. And so I did some quick research. How can I start doing this right away? And then I stumbled upon bookkeeping. I learned that I could start a bookkeeping business with no experience, no college degree, no certifications, and I just dove headfirst. I'll never forget October 2020. 1 month after my daughter was born, October 2020, I decided to start my bookkeeping business while I was still working my full-time job. And then I was able to quit my full-time job in March of 2021, 5 months after I started my bookkeeping business. And that is what enabled me to earn a $1 million net worth by the age of 31. Because making $100,000 a year is great, but you're probably going to have $5,000 per month of expenses. So maybe you'll be able to save, and then after taxes, taxes, that's huge. Maybe you'll be able to save 10, maybe 20,000 bucks per year if you're making 100 grand. So if you're saving $20,000 per year, it's going to take you 50 years, not looking at compounding interest. It's going to take you 50 years to save up $1 million. It's possible. It's just going to take a long time. So I quit my full-time job. I pursued entrepreneurship 100%. And it took me 4 years of growing my bookkeeping business. But in the 4th year, things really took off. Things really exploded with my bookkeeping business. And that, truthfully, is the only way that I was able to achieve a $1 million net worth, because I have made over $700,000 in 2024 because of my bookkeeping business. By the grace of God, praise God, all glory to God. I'm so blessed. He has given me everything I have, but I would not be where I am today, first and foremost, without blessings from God, but second, without my bookkeeping business. I would not have $1 million right now if it wasn't for my successful bookkeeping business. And I almost messed up everything because I got this great idea of starting a trucking company 3 years ago. I thought this was going to be my ticket. I was going to get rich starting a trucking company. I started it in 2021, maybe like 9 months after I started my bookkeeping business. I just thought it was such a good idea. Started my trucking company. I'm not going to get into it too much, but basically I lost $70,000 over the course of 2 years. And potentially even more importantly, it took away my ability to focus on my bookkeeping business. So it stunted my growth because I was split. I was spending 10 hours a week on my trucking company, and I was not able to spend 100% of my time and effort on growing my bookkeeping business. So if I have a piece of advice for anybody watching this video, try to stay focused on one thing, especially in the beginning. Spend 2 years just focused on one thing, and you will grow so much faster than if you try to focus on two things at the same time. I made the mistake. I lost $70,000. I was really stressed out. My wife was frustrated. I was overworked, overwhelmed, and I was literally losing money, like worst case scenario. So in 2022, in December of 2022, I decided to quit my trucking company, sold my trucks, and then 2023, I went all in on my bookkeeping business. And then 2023, I think I made close to $200,000, maybe $250,000. And then I set myself up for explosive growth in 2024. I went all in on social media. I went all in on marketing and sales and developing my brand and providing high quality customer service to my current bookkeeping clients. I went all in, exploded my bookkeeping business, made $700,000 in 2024 because I focused on one thing. Now, with that being said, it did not come at a cost, or it did not come at no cost. It came with a cost because I worked really hard for the past 4 years, but especially in 2024. I wake up early. I'm stressed out right now. I'm overwhelmed, overworked, and I'm depleted right now. But that's okay because I think it's just a phase in life. And I'm not really sure where I'm going to be in the next 12 to 24 months. I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but I do know that I learned how to work really hard, how to manage my time, how to work efficiently, how to make sacrifices, because I was waking up, I still am, 5 a.m. every day, putting in a couple hours of work. Then I eat breakfast, spend some time with the family, right back at it, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., working a full day. And then I'm even sometimes working a couple hours in the evening. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to say, cool, look at me, I'm so special because I'm working so hard. Honestly, every day that goes by, I learn more and more that money is not that important. If you start sacrificing your health and your happiness and your family and your friendships, like, money does not matter to a certain point. As long as you can afford to pay for housing and food, there's a certain point where there are diminishing returns for your money, like much more than $100,000 per year. And yeah, it's cool to see it on paper. It's great to have $1 million net worth by 31 years old. But I've made a ton of sacrifices over the past 2 years. My health is declining. I hate to admit it, but I've gained weight. I'm less fit in the gym. I'm certainly more stressed out. I'm definitely sleeping worse. I have probably a worse relationship with my family members, and that sucks. But yeah, I've acknowledged that. I've realized that, and I'm hoping that this is only a short period of my life. But yeah, it's really tough. It's really tough being in that growth phase. And I'm sure it's going to happen at multiple points. Like, I'm sure when I'm 45, I might go through another growth spurt. When I'm 62, maybe I'll go through another growth spurt. I'm sure in my 20s, I went through a couple growth spurts. I'm hoping this is short term. I don't know. There's an equal and opposite reaction to everything. So if you make a ton of money, if you have a lot of success, you're going to have to make sacrifices elsewhere. And I'm navigating all of this. I'm trying to figure out, is it all worth it? At what cost am I making $700,000 a year? At what cost am I growing a bookkeeping business? Like, is it all worth it? I don't know. I don't have all the answers. Hindsight is 2020. I'm sure in 30 years, I'm going to look back and I'm going to say, wish I didn't do that. Wish I would have done that. Probably should have focused on this instead. But who knows? I don't have all the answers. I'm just trying to figure it all out. So in college, 10 years ago, I almost failed out of college. So I certainly have had my fair share of struggles. I was a terrible student in college, terrible student, literally failed out of college. I had to take 2 summer classes to try to make up the credits that I failed my sophomore year. And just a terrible student, did not work hard, did not study hard, did not get good grades. And then I ended up joining the Army, and I drank a lot. I drank a lot in college. I drank a lot after college. And by the grace of God, I have been sober for the past 2 years. There's different levels to being an alcoholic, and I don't even want to compare myself to somebody who has debilitating alcoholism, who some people have to go to rehab and some people get hospitalized and people lose their family, lose their job. Thank God none of that actually happened to me, but alcohol definitely played a big role in my life. And for the past 2 years, I have not had a sip of alcohol. And I really think that a lot of my success is due to the fact that I have not drank in the past 2 years. So if anybody is struggling with drinking, just know that it's been really great for me not drinking. I haven't lost too many friends. I haven't missed out on too many fun activities. If anything, I have been able to do more on the weekend, more on Monday and Tuesday because I have more energy. So I just realized that I've been blabbering on for 20 minutes and I have no idea why I'm making this video, but I love talking about this stuff. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for your support. I hope that these videos are making a difference, are making an impact. I truly hope that people are watching these videos and getting something out of these videos. So I'm going to wrap it all up by saying why you do what you do is so much more important than what you do. It doesn't matter what you do. You could be a stay-at-home parent. You could not have any kids. You could have 10 kids. You could be a school teacher, a garbage truck driver, a surgeon, a lawyer, an engineer, an accountant, a construction worker, an NFL player, a minor league baseball player, an entrepreneur. An investment banker. It doesn't matter what you do. I think, to me, it matters why I'm doing what I'm doing. If I figure out, and I did figure it out 18 months ago because I met with a mentor, I figured out why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's because what I'm doing is I'm growing my business. Why I'm doing it is because I want to give back. I want to use my resources, use my talents to give back. And I haven't totally figured that out. I haven't figured out what that's going to look like or how that's going to play out. But I do know that I want to use my resources, use my business, use my influence, use my social media, use my money to give back. Primarily right now, I'm focused on my church. I want to give back to my church because the more I learn about Jesus, the more I realize how perfect he is. And the more I realize I want to be more like Jesus. And then the more I realize that I want to tell more people about how great Jesus is. And this has kind of been a journey for me over the past 2 years. I'm learning more about my faith and what it means to be a Christian, but this has turned into my why. And I'm not going to go full preacher on you. I'm not going to turn my YouTube channel into me just talking about God all the time, but I do want everybody to know that I'm doing this. I'm making these videos. I'm growing my business. I'm raising my family because I want to grow the kingdom of God.